So I'm really happy, very excited about offering trauma therapy at Armour Addiction. And what I wanted to do is really kind of explain the process in that is that, in all trauma therapy, we support safety and stabilization. So in the treatment for mental health and addiction, our first protocol is about safety and stabilization. And in that process of treatment and the outline and structure of treatment, we're actually working with our trauma on an implicit level. Some of that pre-verbal memory that we may have not been able to negotiate in childhood or in the addictive process. So what we're learning is how to have a relationship again, and that might feel very, very threatening and really uncomfortable, especially if we've come from addiction ourselves, or we've come from environments where our parents weren't safe, attuned, or could provide that safety. Sometimes when we're coming into the group process, it can feel really scary. And here at Armour Addiction, we want to talk about that. We really want to explain how we carry trauma in our nervous system, and certain defenses may come up in this process, and resistance, shame. And so from the traumatic process and working with safety and stabilization, we really support the client in being able to, on an invitational basis, is to gently be able to look at this and move through those traumas, to be able to say, with their hand up, I do this too. And that's part of that, that is part of that whole process, where we get to be really heard and seen without shame. Because we know that addiction is an attempt to try and self-regulate. And usually that comes from many different factors, whether that's environmental, genetics, family of origin, generational trauma. And so we need to be very curious, and that's what we do here at Armour Addiction, is that we're very curious about all of those components so that we can give the patient the best possible care. And also to, how do we learn to be in relationship with ourselves, and how do we learn to be in healthy relationships with other people. And I'm going to stress the word safe and healthy, because when there's been mental health and addiction, we don't know how to do that safely. And so we start to learn that. The trauma therapy, what we used to do before, we used to think that we have to live those horrific events over and over again. And with the new neuroscience that is out there, we know that that's not something that we really want to do, because that can re-traumatize the nervous system. The big part of recovery is starting to have those sober days back to back in our nervous system, and also the support and cognitive behavioral therapy, dialectic behavioral therapy, some of those different modalities that can really help us process safely and be contained and start to learn how to take care of ourselves. Not only learn how to take care of ourselves, is that we start to really believe that we are worthy of care. And that's the big piece, in addiction, is that, we realize that we're more, than our addiction. We start to orientate to those things that are safe, that are supportive, healthy relationships with other people and ourselves.